so.
No, in the
more about gel coat.
When the fourth round would.
Don't you call in the.
Well, look what just washed up on the shores.
What was that?
Us, the
us.
Square Groupers. We just washed up on the shores of everybody right now. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Square Groupers, year 2022, episode number 2. I'm calling this one, I think I called it open mic just because there's a lot of stuff that we could be talking about right now. I think maybe we wanted to make the first episode or two not so crazy, not so serious. So we got an open discussion right now about all things cannabis and the like. So if anybody wants to join, if anybody wants to come in and hang out with us, if anybody wants to chat in the comments section, you got any questions, fire away. What's going to happen right now, though, is Bob the Cannabis Cowboy is going to roll himself something real quick. So, BG, what the hell do you got going on right now, man?
Man, it's like one of them days, when you got shit planned and then fucking everybody and their mama plans everything else over your shit, and you got to get it done first before you do yours. You know what I mean?
You got to prioritize. It's what's figuring out what's the most important thing to do on that particular occasion. Usually it's whatever the wife wants you to do. That's normally how my decisions are made. So
yeah, I hear you. I hear you on that one. My thing is, I didn't even get in the gym this morning. I still got shit I got to do today, so I've been challenged today. So I apologize. I know everybody might have been looking for me in the gym this morning. We still gonna get in the gym. Believe that. You know what I mean? It's just the time of the day we get in the gym, but we're gonna get in the gym every day. So
it happens. It doesn't matter what time you go to the gym, as long as you go to the gym. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You know what I mean? As long as you don't go to the gym and take selfies and break a sweat, you're good. You can break a sweat later this afternoon, so you can best believe that. What you rolling on over there, man? What you got going on over there, Bob the Cannabis Cowboy?
I'm glad you asked. So yesterday, I think it was yesterday. The snowstorms got me crazy, but during the session show that I did, I pulled out about 6 different strains and asked the group, the folks in the comments section, what they wanted me to smoke, what they wanted me to try. About 4 or 5 people voted. I think it came down to Commando, but I was hoping they chose that one. But there's another one that I'm smoking right now called Peanut Butter Breath, and it's basically it's peanut butter and a strain called Mendo Breath. So I think I can pop this thing off real quick and show you a quick.
Ooh,
might get a little digitized, but yeah, it's looking beautiful.
Yeah, it is. That's a nice looking little nugs you got there, man. You almost had me there when you said Commando. I thought you were going to say you're smoking that Washington football team commander strain over there.
The commies, dude. Let's hear it for the commies. They went from Redskins.
Commies. Bum 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 bum. That's their new fucking chant. I heard. You know what I mean?
They went from Redskins to Wolverines and shit. They're becoming the communists. Yeah, I think that's hilarious, man. That just kind of goes to show you, man. It's when you've got an owner that simply always has to have his hands on things. That's kind of how that goes. I think we can relate to that.
I think any name they would have got would have been, but Commanders. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I know we're on all things green here today, but when you've got a team in Washington, predominantly in DC, where we know it stands for Dallas Cowboys, not District of Columbia, and you come out with a Washington football team, I think they should have just left it as the Washington football team, but the Commanders now, it sounds a little political to me. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
To me, it sounds a little bit like Snoop Dogg always says, "You're doing too much." Like they tried too hard on that one. You know what I mean? Like they swung. They went real big on that one instead of just kind of going for something, because the thing is when you think back to the time when the term Redskins was when the term Redskin was used, when the team was actually in its inception, saying the word Redskin had racist connotations, definitely even more so back then, but it still didn't come across as something that seemed pompous or and I know they wanted to sound like by saying Redskins, okay, that hey, we're Chiefs, we're strong, we're honorable, and all that stuff. They missed the mark on it. This one sounds like they just doing too much. They're
Well, I think they missed the mark on that Gruden investigation too. But there's a lot of shit going on in the NFL right now, thanks to Brian Flores. We kicked off Black History Month, and I'm gonna tell you, boy, they got a systemic racist thing going on right now with coaches. I mean, one black head coach out of 32 teams now.
Well, I think that systemic racist thing was sort of like the reason why the Rooney Rule was thrown in there. But I don't know, man.
I'm starting to think like these interviews are just like text messages. Like, you've seen those interviews?
Yeah.
The text message trails come out. There's a lot of stuff coming out with that. I know we're kind of getting off track here on football, but it's kind of the news of the day. I'm going to talk more about this as we get in the gym today. But you say what you putting that in the pipe over there? What you got going on with your
I always
peanut butter bread?
I always got to roll me some nice ones with my blue and silver 1.25 zigzags. It's just the way it goes.
I still got those you sent me though on your Patreon. That's what's up, baby. You know what I mean? It's a little keepsake I got on my desk here.
They're super thin, man. They're ultra super thin. You don't get a lot of paper taste. It's a wonderful paper. But yeah, I went through a couple. I got a couple new strains actually that I'm going to do a strain spotlight on. There's one called Jungle Jelly that I'm very, very anxious to get my my lungs around, which was, I believe, Wi-Fi mixed with Mac. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I've got some strain spotlights popping up on the Cannabis Cowboy channel here coming up soon. But
did you say Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi, yeah.
Like the Wi-Fi connect to. That's a
yes, that's exactly what it's called. Wi-Fi, yeah. Wow.
I never.
It's not like would you work hard? Yes, play hard. Yes, from the movie 21 Jump Street or 22 Jump Street. That was the name of the drug in that one, I think. Wi-Fi. But yeah, this is a 100% legit strain, man. It's beautiful, just like everything else good chemistry puts out. But
that's right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just chilling,
see
man.
See a bunch of people rolling in with us, man. So what up, everybody? I see Stephon, Michael, Rodney, Russ. What up, y'all? Mike Rock. I see y'all, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in today on Hump Day.
We go back and forth up here between me and BG. If y'all are smoking out there in the comment section, what are y'all puffing on? And if you're not puffing on it right now, what do you wish you were puffing on? Because that's what it's about right now, man. It's 3 o'clock on the East Coast or 4 o'clock on the East Coast right now. Maybe some of y'all trickling from work. Maybe some of y'all are like me, stuck in a house with about 4 feet of snow, getting ready for negative temperatures tonight. So I don't know what y'all are doing, man.
You've been out there shoveling snow all day, haven't you? Already this morning?
Man. I woke up early as hell. And I do that shit just so my wife obviously doesn't have to deal with that. It's just I make her park in the garage because we got a 1-car. And I park on the side of the house, and most of the snow gets blocked, so I don't get too much. But we got a big driveway. We got a big ass driveway, man. And when I tell you what, man, when it's covered, it's tough. It's one big serious challenge, man. Straight off the bat.
I seen you had all the beard on your. You posted your picture on your timeline. I seen you had your Santa baby, beard going on. Shout out Beard Gang. You know what I mean? It actually snowed just a little bit here today. Believe it or not, it had a little quick flurry came in, not even enough to leave on the ground. But I think there's a lot of snow going on around the nation everywhere. So if you're getting snow wherever you are, leave us a comment today. Let us know you got some snow too.
Right on cue. Tanya Rochelle Gill says, good afternoon, with expecting ice here in South Arkansas. And I'll tell you what right now, man, I will take snow flurries all day over ice. Ice is nothing to fuck with. Ice is the reason why, no matter what happens after it snows, I automatically go out to my car and clear off as much snow as I can right away so that the next time it snows, it doesn't just turn to ice on that bottom level. That's the trick. Stay on top of your snow. It doesn't turn to ice.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago here. It snowed really bad, and I was out in downtown Tacoma, and I thought, it just snowed about 24 hours. I said, man, I should be able to get up this hill that I think I can get up. And sure enough, started getting up that hill, and there was that ice like you're talking about, started spinning. And I was like, nope, not going to make it halfway up the hill to get to the freeway exit, right? So I had to back down onto an on-ramp, that curb, right? So as I'm backing down, there's so much snow, I don't see the curb. So what do? I'll just keep backing up like I know what the fuck I'm doing. And all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. My car is hanging off of angle embankment. You know what I mean? I'm back there getting sideways on the 4 lane. So shout out to all my folks on the Bay Area. Yeah, I got stuck. Then I called a tow truck, and guess how much they were going to charge me to come pull me off that embankment?
$200.
$500.
Holy shit. 200 was like, I was being a dick at 200. Good Lord.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, I need to buy a fucking tow truck. I'm in the wrong business. You know what I mean?
Man.
But you know how much I end up actually having to pay to get out?
How much?
$40.
All right, there you go. That's AAA numbers. That's just a tip.
No. It was local folks were driving around being good Samaritans, and some questionable people came by with a chain and looked like they were at work for food. So they helped me get unleashed, and I gave them $40, and we was on our way. You know what I mean?
Nice. There's still some good ones out there, man. That's for sure. I'm glad I got some neighbors that are like that. But yeah, 500. No, that's a lot. That's the truth.
Yeah, my man Mike Rock says Chargers ain't for snow. I know he know because he got a Charger too, or had one at least last time I checked. So yeah, no, they not for the snow, baby. I mean, it had just came down. I didn't think that ice was there long enough overnight, but sure enough, yeah, them heavy them heavy rear end axle cars like a Charger definitely not gonna be good in the snow. So I feel you,
No,
Mike Rock. You got that right.
But I tell you what, man, you still have you've still got a shot, because they're usually pretty. The reason why they're a bitch is because they're high revving. But sometimes a little muscle can get you out of there. But yet, I was here week 2 when I moved here to Denver 15, 16 years ago, and got rear-ended at a stoplight. Boom, in my Cadillac. And I was already driving around suspect thinking, damn, how am I going to get around in the snow in a Cadillac? But yeah, I started realizing real quick that if you're living in an area where it's going to snow for at least 2 or 3 months a year, you definitely have to get a four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, some kind of situation like that. So I quickly changed my tune, got out of that Cadillac.
Yeah, man. I see you over there blazing. I would blaze with you, but it's kind of hard to blaze when you have nothing. You know what I mean? I got to make that stop. So I had a scheduled trip to make a stop this morning, but again, everybody wants to schedule shit around my schedule.
I'm saddened about that, man. I'm sorry about that. That's
all good, man. I'm rolling among friends. Literally, I mean, rolling here with you guys, not rolling, if you know what I mean.
So I had a discussion I want to throw out real quick. I went to go see the Tool concert, and I went over some pictures I took at the very last. Tool's really hardcore about you taking videos and pictures. They don't allow that shit. You will get thrown out. If you watch the episode, you'll see that I was just straight smoking weed right in front of the security guard. He did not give a fuck. But if he saw somebody take a phone out, boom, he was on it. But at any rate, before that, I had gone to dinner with my brother and a couple of his friends that are in the cannabis industry out here as well with my brother. And we were just kind of shooting the shit. He introduced me as his brother, the grower, and they were like, "Oh, your brother grows," and which I thought was pretty.
The
cool.
Cultivator.
So yeah, shout out to my brother. It's real easy for me to remember that my brother is my older brother, but we're both. I'm almost 50. He's a little over 50, so it finally hit that evening out point where he's not like, oh, he's my little brother. That's my brother, the grower. Oh, you grow, da da da. How much do you grow? And I was like, well, I'll tell you how much I grow. I grow exactly how much I'm allowed to fucking grow, which is, it does not matter. I can only flower. And they looked at me and they went 3 at a time. And I'm like, exactly, man. And I go, you know what, man? That's one thing that I don't understand, that it's been legal in Denver for so long. And we've gone through these changes in laws for concentrates, all kinds of different shit. But we still have done nothing to let the medical card holder or the person over 21 recreational cannabis user, we still have done nothing to let people like myself be able to flower more than 3 plants at a time. And I left a little gap in that statement. And one of them looked at me and said, yeah, they don't want you getting a piece of the pie.
Exactly.
And I go, look, man, listen. I get that. But I'm a cultivator. I grew last year 3 plants every 4 months for an entire fucking year. I still shopped at my dispensaries. It's not like I wasn't shopping any less, because that shit, I'm not a master grower, and I'm not making dispensary level weed where I've got 300 grow lights and 5 warehouses. That's how you get to that level. I'm just a personal grower who loves seeing the product grow from one end to the other. And it still was just like they're programmed as higher ups to think, well, you know what? The average grower is cutting in on our profit no matter what. If there's 50,000 people in the city that are growing cannabis. That's 50,000 people that aren't coming to my dispensary to buy my cannabis, which is their thought process. So, that brought kind of an interesting thing to me, because what you can't forget about with these legality issues is that people within the industry and within the culture are still going to be competitive. It's always been it's been a quiet competitive thing. Weed dealers back in the day weren't shooting at each other, but they were edging in on competition and stuff like that, or territory, if you will. But I thought that was kind of odd that we haven't got, no one's really talking about that. And I think that's because people, for the majority out here, are weed buyers and not weed growers. And the places like Texas and Florida that are not fully recreational legal, or in Texas legal at all, those places are the ones that are growing more because they have to. Once you start places where you live, where I live, where you can buy it on the corner, you can go to dispensaries like crazy. There's not really a lot of growers, so I don't know. That's kind of a bummer. There's a lot of other states out there who can flower more plants at a time than I can, and they're new.
Well, I mean, there's still some states that ain't even legalized yet. That's the first fucking hurdle, is we got to get legalized across the board in this country. I mean, we still got folks struggling that can't use cannabis as a medical alternative in non-legal states, predominantly veterans, as I speak for those folks. You know what I mean? As a veteran myself.
Anybody here in the comment section, has anybody grown cannabis successfully? And by successfully, I mean just one thing: put it in something, grown till it's bud, and cut the bud down, dried it, and smoked it. Doesn't matter if it came out good or not. But if there's anybody here, has anybody done that? I'm interested to know. We're rolling here with about a dozen folks, and we're just sitting here talking cannabis. Open mic. We're just freestyling it here.
Yeah, I had caught an Uber in downtown Tacoma one night. I went to Commencement Bay Cannabis over there. It's right next to the Emerald Queen Casino downtown Tacoma. And the Uber driver that picked me up, me and him got to chatting on my on my way to my destination. And he was telling me he used to be a grower. And I'm like, well, damn, you used to grow. Why the hell you get out of growing and you got an Uber? Why do you think?
Right.
He could only grow so many plants. And then, once they figured it out that, they could skim it down and cut out the middle guys so the dispensaries could potentially get all of the market. Yeah, that's there as we're going to let you do it, but at a minimum. That's kind of like what I call these restaurants that promote on Veterans Day and Military Day and all that stuff. We give veterans discount. We give veteran military discount. You go in there on any other day, they don't do that, but that particular day, so they can't say they don't give a military discount.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. And that's something that I want folks who maybe live in a state that don't have medical cannabis, legal cannabis at all. I want you to realize that once it does show up, it's not just a bunch of stoner weed dealers kicking you bud. It's a business. And with business comes competition, tactics, cutthroat antics, little things like that. There's a lot of stuff. I'm not saying
you can get a license to open a dispensary in the state.
Yeah.
Like that kind of politics as usual. That's half of the problem right there. I mean, we see, I follow Wanda James. She's down there in Denver. We've talked about her here before on LinkedIn. She's a very big voice, first African-American female to own a dispensary in the United States, located down there in Denver. She used to chase submarines in the Navy. She was a naval intelligence officer too as well, worked. She used to chase submarines on the ship. I mean, she's a very powerful voice out there talking about, how cash is, this banking industry and the banking bills and all of that stuff, It's just, it's really sad that there's some states still left. I think we're at 37. I don't know if Mississippi got passed. Let me go over here and take a look at marijuanamoment.net. I didn't even get a chance to look at my damn email this morning like I normally do every morning from marijuanamoment.net. So I'm going to peek on over there now and check out what's going on in Mississippi.
All right. Oops, sorry, we got some more. Victor Jocelyn Martinez, what's good, fellas? Good to see you. Shout out again, Mike Rock, what's going on? Starboy in the building, what is going on, big dog? Good to see you, man. You've been creeping around the last couple of times, man. It's good to see you, man. It's always good to see Starboy pop up. Who else we had there? We said hello to Tanya, Stefan. Yeah, we got some usual suspects in here. That's pretty cool. So if y'all are smoking on anything, let me know what you're smoking on, man.
Well, I know we were talking about the NFL a little bit while ago. I don't see anything on Mississippi, but I'd like to share this and we can talk about this too as well.
Bring it. Bring it. It's open mic, man. Come in here. Just don't make it feedback, and we're good.
So if you'd share that, Bob, can you share that? Definitely some good news here. Kyle Yeager's the big writer here for marijuanamoment.net. If you take a look at that, it says NFL awards $1 million to study marijuana pain management and concussion protection for players.
All right. That's a step, man. That's a step. $1 million is a zit on a teenage boy's face, but it's still something.
This just came out yesterday. Says the NFL announced on Tuesday, which was yesterday, that it's authorized this $1 million grant for a pair of studies looking into the efficacy of marijuana and its components in managing football players' pain and providing neuroprotection from concussions. I know that is a big deal when we talk about CTE, concussions, things of the like. So that's some pretty good news there. So make sure you go over there and check out marijuanamoment.net. You know what I mean? That's where I stay up to date. I've shared this with you folks here previously before as we get down into this. You know, I think NFL a couple of years ago, or if it was not, I think it was last year, maybe the year before, they came out. I think it was the year before they came out and said they weren't going to test or they weren't going to penalize players if they pop positive for cannabis in the system, right?
I believe there was a raising of the microgram dirtiness, meaning if it was 0.5 micrograms that would cause you to red flag and grow and pee dirty, that was raised to 20 or something. So I think there's still I don't know though. It's crazy that I don't know that. I don't know that it's fully legal where.
Well, I remember the NFL came out and put out that, you know, they weren't going to penalize players if they pop positive. You know, Randy Gregory was one of those guys who happens to be a free agent this year. We all know Randy Gregory's story as Cowboy fans. You've been following him. He's done exceptional since he's had his challenges, but a lot of folks are trying to hold that against him now, which I don't like, saying that, you know, we shouldn't pay this guy all this amount of money. But it goes back to the pain management side of the house too. A lot of NFL players, if you go back to even Antoine Woods, who used to be with the Dallas Cowboys and went on to the Indianapolis Colts, got pulled over in Texas, had 2 ounces of cannabis on him, where cannabis ain't legal. But it's for pain management. Feel me?
You know, there's something about the fact that there's going to be a lot of politics involved in this, especially with the amount of money that's up in this motherfucker. So we all know that was bound to happen. But again, sports are going to catch on to what NBA did. There's going to be a lot of sports that are going to start seeing, look, there's already too many people dying from these pills, man.
Just look at online gambling right now. When's the last time you've seen an online or sports gambling commercial, Bob?
Yeah, I've seen a lot.
Today? Yeah, I mean, it's in the open. It's in the open everywhere. Now, even if you look at the king of sports books with BetMGM, they got the disclaimers at the bottom about the addiction of online gambling.
Yeah, they're very specific now about. I seen the most recent one I saw was with Mooch, and Mooch is saying, you know, have a plan, stick to your plan, don't bet more than you can, which is all fucking hilarious. When me and my wife see that shit, we laugh. We're like, yeah, that's what you're gonna do. Somebody who's already gambling too much and has a gambling problem, that's already missed those people. You know, yeah. And you're gambling. You're actually, your bread and butter is making sure people get hooked on gambling. As a company like that. So I don't know.
Yeah, if you take a look at how sports gambling has taken off in the last 24 months, the same thing is getting ready to happen with cannabis. I mean, you're going to see cannabis dispensaries or brands on NFL merchandise in the stadiums. Yeah. I mean, hell, you at some point might even be able to buy gummies at a stadium. I mean, hell, you can buy alcohol and people are dying from alcohol and have drunk driving accidents. But they're making tons of money hand over fist in all these stadiums. Why is cannabis not going to be there? It's going to be there within the next 24 months. I mean, gambling is all over the place now, just like cannabis eventually will be once we get past this tipping point. But Floyd's checking in right there, Bob. And he says governor in Mississippi haven't signed the bill into law yet. It's on his desk. And so should Mississippi sign that, there will be the 37th legalized state in the United States, according to roundtable.net.
It's a big state to go legal, too. Mississippi is a big state to go legal. So you're going to get these the Bible Belt states, too, It's super important for those states to become legal if we want to be perceived as at least moving forward culturally. We know that they are, but the stigma of cannabis also brings the anti-stigma of cannabis to folks like that who've been sort of Bible bumping for a lot of their life and not really looking at the facts. They're just going with what they hear. It's beautiful to see something like this happening right now, if I'm being truly honest. And that's why I think Texas is one of those things that's in my crosshairs, man, because if Texas goes, everybody else will follow. Mike Rock says, right now I got cookies gelati. Good Lord. Thank you. Good to see that. House of Cultival Perps and Pie. It's Sour Patch. Man, good for you. It's good. I'm glad to hear that, man. Cookies
Mike be having Mike has always got a diverse portfolio. Every time he's always, shout out Mike Rock. Anytime he's commenting something, man, he always got some new shit, man. Mike stays with the shinies over there. What's up with that, man?
That's the way you got to do it. Hey, one of the reasons why I even tried the dispensary I go to, Good Chemistry out here in Denver, South Broadway location. The reason why I went there is because I found out that I could buy an ounce, but I didn't have to buy just one strain. I could get 8 individual eighths of different strains. And I would say to myself, dang, nobody was doing this back then, 11, 12 years ago. It wasn't happening. So as soon as I found that out, I was like, all right. And I was like, well, how much is it for top shelf? They're like, it's all top shelf. We don't do that. It's all like, it was like 160 out the door for an ounce. I was like, God damn, thank you so much. So I looked at it, it was beautiful. That's kind of the reason why I was able to do that. So that's why when I got that last ounce, knowing it was going to snow, I pretty much got 8 eighths of different. I think I got 2 quarters of something, Commando and peanut butter breath. Ironically, those are very strong indicas. They're beautiful. But yeah, I'm with you, Mike Rock. Especially if you got friends that come over, and obviously, and if you've been a weed head most of your life, when you have multiple strains in your house, it makes you feel like you wanted to feel when you were 17 going over to your man's house who had like 3 different strains, and you were always like, oh man, I wish I had 3 garbage bags. It makes you feel like a kid again, I think, having those selections. But I like doing that. You go between strains, you don't get used to one.
Yeah, I'm kind of the opposite. I'll buy a whole ounce of the same kind, you know what I mean? I just, but because I don't know. Maybe that might be a new strategy. I go in there just to try some different strains one time. Because really, my biggest thing is when I'm shopping for flower, I mean, I'm looking at how it looks through the glass. I can pretty much tell now if it's sticky or if it's crunchy. You got to have a keen eye for this. Like you got, all these nugs that you're putting up there, man, they're just scrumptious looking. I've seen some nugs that look like they just pulled them out the dirt. You know what I mean? Like, damn. Yeah. This is weed? Where'd you get this from? But like you're saying, it's all top shelf, no mids, huh? It was all top shelf.
All top shelf. Starboy be on the way to work. Oh, look who it is. Sarah Berryhill in the house. Sorry you're late. Who doesn't matter. Just come on.
She out there in the snow too. She been posting pictures out there in Michigan. What up, Prototype? We see she got a number white blanket of snow out there everywhere she's at, taking all them pictures. We see your patio back there, girl. Stay safe.
She says she's on that Gorilla Glue number 4 today. I find it, it's pretty beautiful, to tell you the truth, because they went through 3 different kinds of Gorilla Glue, different phenotypes of Gorilla Glue before they landed on one that was the bangest of the bangies. And I think they stopped at number 4. The original Gorilla Glue I thought was just as good as really any of the other ones, but number 4 is pretty delicious. And it is pretty good for pain, being more of a sativa, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, you said that peanut butter breath, that's indica, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of different kind of breaths. Actually, I had one. It's called meat breath. Never get that shit again. Like it smelled like real meat. I was like, damn, who really, I didn't think it's gonna smell like meat. And I'm like, I'm cool on that.
Yeah, that's not cool at all, man. I actually, what's funny is I went to my dispensary one time, and a friend of mine said to me, look, you need to try this strain. And I was like, all right, I'm down. What is it? And he said, and I forgot what the name of the strain was. And he goes, whatever, it's dank as fuck. It smells like an old man's breath. And I was like, oh, damn. I'm like I made that face too. Like, ah, damn, I don't know if I want to fuck with that, man. He's like, try it, man. It's good. And so I think I had put it aside and smoked a couple strains and came up on that one and rolled it and took a dry hit like I always do. And I was like, ugh, I was like, oh shit, I got to brush my teeth. So I went and brushed my teeth and I took another dry hit again. I was like, God damn, what is in my mouth? And then I realized what the guy said to me. And I was like, you know what, man, I'm going to fire this up. And if it's not the most extraordinary cannabis, I'm going to go back and I'll be the first time in my life I ever complained about weed. And I don't think I ever did. But I never smoked that strain again because it legitimately smelled like plaque, like bad breath plaque. And there's some smells that just don't belong in cannabis. That's fucking one of them.
Hey, man, there's something out there for everybody, man. And believe it or not, somebody like that meat breath. I know they do. There's peanut butter breath, meat breath. There's a couple other breaths I've seen out there too as well.
Well, this is what I fuck with. And again, shout out to my friends and family over there at Good Chemistry. But this is the peanut butter breath derived from Do-si-dos and Mendo breath. Absolutely beautiful.
Do-si-dos like the Girl Scout cookie?
Yeah, that's the name of that particular strain. I wonder if actually they had I don't think they have that on there. They might. They actually might. Yeah, they've got a Do-si-do as well. And most of the time, most of the strains that you find from Good Chemistry, they're making themselves. So yes, if you've got something that's crossed with a Do-si-do and a Mendo breath, chances are they've got a Mendo breath or a Do-si-do at that dispensary too, because they're crossing all of those plants. They're doing a damn good job. They got a lot of different mat crosses with them too. But peanut butter breath offers an earthy pine aroma with an earthy taste to match. That seems to be what I like the most. Those cushy earthy buds. This strain may provide a relaxing lift accompanied by a feeling of relief. Yeah. 100% it does. And here's some of their pricing. Recreational. I always shop medical, but I don't know. They tend to hide those numbers. But anyway, yeah, that's the peanut butter breath I'm loving right now.
Do you think the reason why medical prices aren't there? Do you think dispensaries, is that a strategy? They want you to have to come in, or why do you think that's like that?
There's a strategy to it. I don't really know what it is. I know that this at my dispensary, they're at least a lot cooler with med because there's they always have a certain amount of like staple strains on medical. I know I can always get Violator Kush, Ingrid, probably Lemon Haze, even though I don't buy sativas, Lavender. I can get at least 5 or 6 strains that I always want. But if I ever want something different that I haven't had in a while or never had before, the chances of me finding that on the medical menu are very slim. I just have to walk 1 foot to my left to their recreational side and buy it over there for a few extra dollars, basically.
So you got a recreational line and you got a medical line. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And then there's 2 different.
Most dispensaries have to do that because you have to have inventory that is 100% separate medically from recreational. So not only is it separate, the bottles that the cannabis comes in at this particular dispensary are black on recreational and they're white on medical, for no particular reason other than just sort of letting you know that they're different. So yeah, I would basically have to get out of line and then show my ID again and yada yada yada. But yeah, that's something I think a lot of medical / recreational dispensaries do, where you've got 2 different lines and you've got I'm sure they can make the same kind of purchases and sales in the same computer, but in terms of the inventory, it has to be.
Yeah, no, I get it on inventory. That's interesting you say that because on 2 parts of that, I haven't experienced that up here. However, in Hawaii, where only medical is allowed, I know what you're talking about, those black bottles and white bottles. Yeah. I mean, in Hawaii, the shit is like, it's a medical doctor office you go into, like white lab coats, all the shit.
I like that.
It's real professional. They got the weed tucked away. You just can't see it. They got a screen up there with prices and out, and the different weights and whatnot. But yeah, no, I mean, even up here, the regular stuff, you get it's in the regular canisters, but I know exactly what you're talking about. That's weird. That's a little weird.
Well, again, I know that if I want some of the, like I said, the jungle jelly, which I don't think jungle jelly was actually on It wasn't on. It was on recreational. No, so there's some of the new strains they're coming out with. They're rolling out with on recreational. Obviously, there's more money to be made over there, and that's something I understand. So it's not obviously if I didn't like it, I wouldn't be shopping at the same dispensary for the same amount of time as I have. But yeah, it's different. But I still get. I mean, I walk in there all the time, man. Look, I walk out of there. I think it's 156 for an ounce, something like that. It's gone up and down a little bit back and forth, but it's never gotten any worse. Sometimes I'll walk in there and they'll be like, "Oh, hey, this ounce is only $80 today," and I'm like, "Damn, really?" Like it's those always those. It's as a medical patient, I feel like I get those a lot more than if I was recreationally buying that. So that's still pretty badass about good chemistry. But the medical, I feel like medical cannabis in Colorado is dissolving slowly, which it sort of makes sense, man. You know what I mean? It's
and not every dispensary is medically authorized too, right? What's that website you sent me to that's got the database on there? Can you pull that up where you help me get my license? And let's pull that up, man. Everybody needs to understand not all dispensaries are medically endorsed. So you may go to a dispensary and you can only buy, recreationally. So even if you have a medical card, you're not going to get a discount. You can't buy in bulk. So I want my veterans out there to understand that as we talk about the different dispensaries and the different,
All right. What was the information you wanted me to get?
Just that. What was that green web medical? What was it? marijuanadoctors.net or .org or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, that one. So that way we can direct folks if you're in a position that you're looking at cannabis in a medically authorized state, especially as a veteran. This is something that you want to go and check because you want to see which dispensary is near you. Because once you get authorized and qualified and you get your number through the Department of the Health, like I said, I've just gotten mine recently renewed here too as well. So you got the official document here. It says, Washington State Medical Marijuana Authorization Form, right? So as I shared that, it's registers you with the Department of Health. But you got to understand where to go so you don't, you just say, "Oh, this is my favorite dispensary," but shit, they don't even have medical. You're going to have to now go to a medical dispensary because once you get this letter, that's not the end all. You got to take this letter to your home dispensary, like what Bob's getting ready to pull up this database, make an appointment with your home dispensary. Then they actually make I don't have my card with me. It's around the corner. I have to get it. But the little plastic medical cannabis card from your dispensary.
I've got a couple now since we've spoken, so I'm going to throw a couple of these up here. So it's Marijuana Doctors, and I know I think the newer one is Cannabis Doctors US.
Yeah, I think it's marijuanadoctors.com is the one you showed me. It's got green. Is it green and white?
They changed it. I think it's blue. It's like blue or something now. That's why I was looking at it like, damn, I know that name, but I didn't like the.
Yeah, I think that was the one you sent. I made the YouTube video and I got the link on it, so you can go check it out on YouTube, on my YouTube channel too as well. I made a video for that. So if you're a veteran watching here today, you want to understand, especially in Washington State, how to get it. I did this through the pandemic. Everything via the phone. I didn't have to go anywhere personal. This is my mentor here, Bob the Cannabis Cowboy. He's the one that plugged me with this resource and said, "Hey man, why don't you save some money? And why don't you put yourself in a position if you ever want to grow like what we started this show off here?" Bob's talking about how much does he cultivate. You know what I mean? Veterans also get to grow based on state law, like what Bob was alluding to here at the beginning of the show.
And that's something I think when you think about the NFL already sort of spending money trying to find a way to protect their players or give their players an alternative so they're not having to be locked into a medical situation like that, but yet veterans have been passed up how many times? Like that shit, and I'm happy that it's happening. I'm just saying, like, don't you think there should have been like a fucking hierarchy where it should have gone like maybe veterans first and then fucking every single other? It's just crazy how that didn't work out like that. Like we're sitting here saying, "Oh, these people are pouring millions of dollars into making sure that their players can smoke weed instead of popping pills," but the government could have probably done that a billion times over. Because we know that there's not a lot of data.
The big problem is we got big pharma with all the control up here.
Yeah.
You got everybody affected by that, and you got all of us down here at the grassroots level with this cannabis shit, and we're trying to push up on big pharma. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of folks got problems with, the shot that you got to get nowadays. You know what I mean? Because big pharma has now seemed like found another avenue to continue to pump its product into the masses of this country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've got this marijuanadoctors.com up. If you'd share that for me right quick, Bob, I want to show any veterans that may watch this after the fact. You can go to this link here, marijuanadoctors.com. You go right here to the home page, and then you click Find Doctor. You see this little, you click this, it'll take you to this page here. You say Medical Marijuana Doctors right here at the top. You see that? Just punch in your zip code and distance. You can see all the different states there. Obviously, it's color coordinated, right? States where marijuana is legal is the obvious green colors, right? And look at that. North Carolina, South Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana. Oh, they got medical in Texas, huh? To some extent, right? Is that what that looks like?
No.
Medical marijuana is available in Texas. Find a provider.
Oh, shit. Maybe.
Who qualifies for Texas medical marijuana? Here we go.
Yeah, I want to know where the fuck that is, what county that is.
Well, it ain't got PTSD or depression on there, so, you know, there goes the veteran market.
Insane. All right,
but yeah, you can go there.
Those are pretty. Those are okay. Look, I'm not going to say that those are any bigger than PTSD. We all know that everyone gets affected differently. But what I'm trying to say is, even when it comes to medical diagnoses, those are pretty big deals that are listed in there. So that's still pretty tight. That's like the very beginning of medical cannabis in Denver, like in 2006 when they're thinking about it. It's like you have to be on your deathbed in order for them to be okay with this. But what is this? So I saw what? Hold on.
These are all
Dallas, Houston.
Yeah, Dallas, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, Austin, Fort Worth, Arlington.
Wow.
These are all of the different programs that you can go to where have doctors that can medically qualify you. So for veterans.
Hold on, pause that right there. Texas does not have a full medical marijuana program. Instead, Texas legislature enacted a blah, blah. Under this bill, patients with intractable epilepsy may use low THC cannabis. Huh. It's crazy.
So yeah, you can get it just to a little bit, which I think is ironic as we go back to, but yeah, go to marijuanadoctors.com right there. All the veterans that are watching, if you want to learn more about your state, you can find out those agencies where you can get interviewed there. A lot of the times, all you got to do is print off your e-benefits letter from, showing your VA compensation. If you're, have medical compensation through the military, if you've got that proof, they're going to be looking for that. Like for Washington State, the big qualifier is PTSD and depression. That wasn't on this one, as you can see as well. So they've narrowed it down to where only certain folks, a real small market, will be able to qualify for that. But you can do everything via phone. So I would encourage you, if you have any of those symptoms or any of those issues there that we shared there about the program, where's it at up here? Epilepsy.
Yeah, those are pretty big, man. I mean, terminal cancer, you see what I'm saying? Incurable neurodegenerative disease, those are big deals. But again, here we go. That's, first of all, that's I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. That's a big step. That's Texas saying medically there is an actual usage for cannabis. I'm good with that. I'm good with that sentence and stopping right then and there, because eventually they're going to start seeing that it actually is effective and what it needs to do. But really, what I truly think the issue with Texas is that they're afraid that their alcohol sales are going to get murdered. And they will take a massive dip, and alcohol in Texas go hand in hand, man. After living out there, man. I mean,
I'm living proof. I used to drink 23 years in the military. I stopped once I began smoking. It's just a healthier alternative.
Oh, yeah.
Means you get better sleep at night. You don't wake up hungover. You don't have to deal with the side effects of alcohol. There's no addiction there. A lot of folks will like to say that there is, but there's not. Nobody's dying from marijuana consumption. There are a ton of people dying from alcohol consumption, and especially opioid consumption.
Yeah, that's the big deal, man. I was talking to another friend on the session too, and I was, he lives with his family, and he's a little older, and he suffers with a weight issue, man, and I was letting him know that to try and get some. He was suffering with some sleep issues. And that's when we had that conversation on the first episode of Square Groupers 2022, how I think people can use that at the very least to cut out their sleeping pill consumption.
or self-medicating with alcohol to go to sleep. Hell, I used to do that
yeah,
too.
thank you. That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's a little tougher. So what I'm trying to say is, if they're used to grabbing something out of a cabinet, popping it in their mouth, and going to bed, that's how the cannabis gummy situation that I use. It sort of can feel like the same thing. So it'll feel this. It'll be ritualistically the same thing.
Pop a couple gummies, chew them, and go to
Yeah,
sleep. Huh?
if you take a fucking shots of liquor before you got to go to bed, that's a little different, man. It's a little harder. But the thing is, you have to take those gummies about an hour before you're ready to go to bed, and then sometime within that hour, in about 35 to 40 minutes, you'll start yawning, and you'll be like, "Oh, I can go to bed for sure."
Or your eyes start watering and shit and
Yeah.
getting heavy. That's what happens with me. And I'm just like, oh, it's time to go to
It's a
bed.
beautiful thing. Yeah, I'll take probably 20 milligrams. Like, I took 20 milligrams last night, and I have these edibles called Dialed In that my brother gets me, and they are the best live rosin gummies I've ever had in my entire life, man. And they're not sponsoring us. I'm just straight up saying they're some of the best I've ever had in my life. There's a lot of good ones out there too, Wana and stuff like that. But these guys, they make it out of plants that are still alive, the live rosin, and they make it with whatever. Like, they go to specific dispensaries and sell their gummies to them, but they make those gummies out of that dispensary's cannabis. So if you ever buy them from a dispensary, you're buying the gummies with that dispensary's cannabis infused into those gummies, which is pretty badass. That was pretty cool to me. But regardless, the way they process these, they do it in such a way that it works consistently every time. That was kind of the problem with edibles for me when I first started taking them. It was very inconsistent. I would either get stupid and not be able to wake up and pee or something, or I wasn't getting really affected at all. But now these particular gummies, and there's some fast relief ones from, I think, Wild or Wana that work within 5 to 10 minutes that are pretty impressive too. So I'm just saying, if you take a regimen of pills, for whatever reason, and you want to try and cut out the nighttime sleeping pill, you might want to think about grabbing yourself some edible cannabis. And it's in multiple forms, including forms you can create yourself that I can teach you how to do. Very easy. It is nothing at all to do. So that's something to think about.
Yeah, what they call it, that nighttime sniffing, coughing, draining, or whatever, so you can rest medicine, that type of shit. Shout out to my boy Campos. Yeah, Mike Rock says, yeah, you can take shots. My boy Campos right there says, stand by, it's about to get real. I just heard your boy say, wow. I know he knows what we're talking about. My man Campos is active duty Navy out there, senior chief. He's got his daughter. I know he shared with me on occasion that's in the actual cannabis space industry, doing big things out there. I see you, big dog. I know you're about to retire here in another year, man. We got to stay in touch, baby.
Beautiful. Nice. Yeah, you can't take shots cannabis. That's true. I mean, and I've actually had an indica infused vodka that was pretty damn good, man. It smelled like the strain. It was really, really done well. But I don't like the idea of mixing the two. But you're right. There are elixirs, tinctures, all kinds of stuff that you do. Just as I take 4 or 5 droppers of CBD every night before I go to bed, you can do the same thing with cannabis. My brother likes to do that too. Instead of taking gummies or something like that, he has a lot of the elixirs, and he'll just take a bunch of really good THC, CBD, CBG, CBN mixtures, which there's all types of cannabinoids now that they're isolating for different things. And they all work together in unison. So that stuff's pretty good. Yeah. All right. Well, we've got a couple people that just popped up. But it's just the same folks coming and hanging out, man. I appreciate you guys coming and chilling out, man, on Square Groupers, no doubt. This was just an open mic night. Obviously, we're going to be having specific subjects on a lot of them, but some nights like this, some days like this, we're just going to come out and say, hey, whatever the hell you want to talk about, we talk about. So if anybody has something they want to throw out there before we get out of here, let me know. But,
yeah, I'm looking forward to next week. I definitely want to dive into some things and start covering some stuff here, especially from the veteran standpoint. So if you're the veteran, as a Dallas Cowboy fan or an NFL fan for that matter, or you're a cannabis enthusiast, no matter what team your allegiance is to, make sure and do me a favor, turn your notifications here. Every Wednesday at 1:00, you can see it on the Built Different group page, as we're live there too as well. We'll be streaming Square Groupers. That is our first scheduled show. I still need to get in the gym. You know, I need to nail down the time I can get into the gym. I've got such a sporadic schedule. So I apologize, but at least now we have Square Groupers scheduled 1 p.m. on the West Coast moving forward every Wednesday here to carry us through the off season. So if you're a cannabis enthusiast, tag somebody you know that would enjoy this type of content, share this on their timeline. We appreciate the usual suspects hanging out here with us. But, you know, like we said, we're built different around here, and we're a couple NFL fans talking about things differently.
Yeah, not doing it the way everybody does. At least I don't think so. But yeah, and it's all, and I spoke to that too. One of the first things that I thought would be amazing is if you know, we're talking about how do we broach the subject of cannabis with our Cowboys friends, and the easy way to do that, which was tough to think about back then, and it all stemmed from me saying, damn, I want to make a Dallas Cowboy strain with super silver haze and blueberry and white rhino, a white widow, you know, a blue, silver, and white one, and it kind of jumped out from there, man.
Star flower.
Yeah, that'd be badass, man. And again, that goes right along with what you were saying. Eventually, this is going to happen. There's going to be strains. All the purple shit's going to be in Minnesota. You know what I mean? Like they're going to have the stranglehold on the purple strains. And I'm telling you, man, it's just only a matter of time. And once they're able to incorporate cannabis with an NFL stadium, come on, man.
I mean, just look at the gambling industry. It's a brand new industry once it gets fully legalized. I mean, still, you can't even gamble online in every state. Still here in Washington State, you can't just gamble freely anywhere on Draft, Duel, and FanKings. You got to actually go to a casino, which they just opened up. BetMGM just opened it up, so it's coming here soon. But if you take a look at the online gambling industry and how fast it's scaled over the last 24 months, expect the same thing with the cannabis industry, especially when it comes to football. Do you see how much money is in the NFL football? I mean, you got owners out there paying NFL coaches $100,000 a game to take a loss.
That was, I want to say that I was surprised when I heard that, but
I didn't mean to open a can of worms here or a can of
that was just
grass,
fucked up to hear. As much as, and people, I don't think that's if it's true, because we got to say allegedly all the time. That's the way we are. If it's true, that's something that I think all NFL fans need to soak in that sentence really hard and understand that what they think the NFL is might not be what it actually is. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not going to say anything more than that.
Surprisingly, I read a lot of comments over the last 24 hours, and normally there would be a lot of backlash. It's not seemingly so much backlash about this, because now you got Hugh Jackson and these other coaches and these other players are coming out talking about that. And I didn't mean to hijack the conversation here, but you got to tune in with us next week. It's a development story. I'm going to be talking more about it in the gym today. I've got a list of notes here to go over to add some content for the gym. So make sure and turn your notifications. Make sure and tune in with us here next Wednesday and pick us up on the conversation about cannabis with Square Groupers. Man, I look forward to seeing y'all.
No doubt. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming and hanging out. Cannabis community, as always, thank you for coming by and saying hello. Thank you to all my patrons. If you are interested in checking out my Patreon, it is ticking below, waiting for you to go check out. And if you are looking to learn how to grow cannabis for the first time in your life, if you are brand new with it, I specialize in training folks like yourself who think.
Come on, get on the train, baby. Get on his Patreon train, man, so he can send me some of these blue zigzags like I got. I just got them sitting here.
I got them by the case.
My collector's cup.
I got them by the case, man. Anyway, folks, again, thank you so much for hanging out with Square Groupers. We will catch you same time next week. Y'all have a great one, and as always,